You never know what about your story will help another person, so I wanted to share mine. So, my journey into motherhood happened, I guess really how I wanted it. I got married, we tried immediately, we got pregnant immediately. I had my son. 9 months later, he was premature, 5 weeks early. And so he was in the NICU the whole nine. I don't wish that experience on any mother ever. However, I did learn a lot. But I think if left to my own devices, I might have still learned a lot of that and maybe not been so thwarted with my attempts at motherhood. Because, the nurses and the occupational therapists and the staff all kind of have an opinion on how you should mother. And so they're there to help. Lactation consultants, they're there to help. My son, who was in the NICU, wasn't latching, because even though I was there 3 times a day for extended period of time, bonding and holding him and doing skin to skin and falling asleep with him because I just did not want to leave him there. That is where the true brunt of the pain was from, is leaving your baby. He's born and you can't take him home. Like, what is that? In what world does that make sense? I guess, what science says was in the way of my own mother instincts. Not that I wanted to take him home, because they say the brain is like this as opposed to like that in that 1 week span, right? It's like, you take your baby home and his brain's not fully developed to be a full-term baby. And so I don't want to do that to him, right? I wanted to give him all the best chances ever. Well, when it came to my second son, not that the nurses at the other hospital where I had my second son knew the circumstances of my first, but they knew that at 35 weeks, I could have taken him home. And so that was something that was, they said we would have sent him home with you. And so knowing that was really hard to hear, because I already had a lot of guilt around my first son's birth. He was a COVID baby. So I couldn't have a doula with me, even though that was my dream. It was my husband or a doula. So it's like one person at a time, family can't visit. And he's early. And maybe everything combined had me feeling like I didn't do a good job during pregnancy. Why does he want to come out early? I couldn't deliver without an epidural. I was in that much pain, unexpected pain. I had learned about using surges instead of contractions, and pressure instead of pain. Like, I knew all that, but I had already hit a block by 6 centimeters dilated. So by 8 centimeters dilated, we were finally in the hospital bed, and they asked, do I want to have an epidural? Yes. I said yes. I just felt like I wasn't present. My adrenaline was all over the place. I was sick on both ends. I was vomiting and had diarrhea. Like, I couldn't sit in one place without getting sick. And I think I felt embarrassed. It was, this hospital room, so it wasn't like a birthing center, which I had wanted. Just the setup wasn't as ideal as I had seen other moms give birth, right? And what I'd heard from other moms who I had talked to along my pregnancy journey. And so I had all these opinions about what an ideal birth would look like and feel like, and it was not that. So there was already a lot of guilt with that when I asked for the epidural I didn't go the natural route. I had already had Pitocin, and they already gave me the antibiotic. I had my birth plan in my head, and that was the way it was going to be. It wasn't printed out by that time because I thought I had more time. So I just remember saying out loud to the nurse, this is my birth plan, boom, 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 boom. And she said, oh yeah, we do all that. Yes, absolutely, check, 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 check. So I did get to hold him when he was born, but because he was early, they took him away. The APGAR score was fine. He was fine, but it was kind of like just for caution and respiratory check, all that stuff that they whisked him off to the NICU. So I had maybe 5 or 10 minutes. They were doing most of the tests while he was on my chest. But I was left with the feeling of having felt him exit my body. I pushed maybe twice. I know I tore because they were sewing me up as they had the baby over on the side of the room. And, you know, they were getting him all checked out. And my husband got to cut the umbilical cord. And so all this is happening while I'm getting sewed up, and I just am like still in the bliss of having birthed this amazing, already knew it, amazing person. I remember the song that was playing on my playlist. I remember the words that came out of my mouth to him, the first words I've ever said to my son. All that stuff is just so precious and so fresh and will never leave my brain because I wrote it down and made sure. But also I relive it because it's so valuable to me. And so this brings me to the mental load. So I was already a full-time entrepreneur at this point when I got pregnant. And so when I had him, my priorities shifted overnight. Nothing else mattered in the world. I texted I sent out one text that got to everybody, but I texted and said, I'm going into labor. And so everything that was scheduled for this week is now postponed until further notice. I'll let you know. Of course, I got all well wishes back from everybody, all my clients and my team. And so that was great because I had set my business up in a way that I could get one message out and take care of advising everybody of the situation. And so that also opened my eyes to like how my business would have to change just moving forward. Like I need it to be simple to get a message out. I need it to be simple and operate at my pace on my terms. And so my business took a little shift. You know, I definitely pivoted once I became a mother in my business, and my whole business model got even simpler than it already was. And so I would say the weight of carrying like the needs of my baby alongside the needs of my clients, right? What was I fulfilling on, the results they were promised and that they paid for, was all together, all consuming. And so I would say lighten the load on anything that doesn't have to do with baby, lighten your load there, because it wasn't just about business. It was everything else that was not my priority focus, which was my child. And so nothing else matters if you are not healthy, right? If he is not well, nothing else matters. And so, so sleep became important, right? Sleep and nutrition and all those things, kind of just a carryover of what I consider a very healthy pregnancy. I think I was in really good shape back then. My oldest is 4, my youngest is 2. And I'd say that the mental load with a preschooler and a toddler are different. And a toddler, they say that the expectations, the demands, the questions is every 3 minutes, right? They need something from you. And so that's a lot. I would say that beyond business, beyond the responsibilities of house and bills and adulting and social life and wanting to get back to some kind of normalcy within myself, and then also moving through postpartum depression, moving through identity crisis, moving through that pivot in my business, which really required of me to answer the question, who are you now? What are you going to show up as now? What's your brand about now? And so all those deep questions threw me. I had to sit back and really do this deep dive into myself and recreate this new person. And so I think motherhood, there is a lot of reinvention of yourself. That's a lot. That's a big ask and a big task for somebody whose sole devotion and purpose and priority, at least for these first 3 months after delivery, is baby. And I think it's rightfully so. In Erica Casimar's book, Being There, she talks about like how the priority of a mother should be being there, being present for that baby within those first 3 years at least. So in previous videos, I distinguished that the toddler years are from 1 to 3, that full 3rd year of life. So, and then preschool doesn't start till 4. And that was on purpose. I know the scientific discoveries and, the demands of the economy say that preschool starts at 3 years old. I just don't believe that we should start treating a 3-year-old as a preschooler, because I think the demand of toddlerism is still there within them. Now, I put my kids in at my oldest at 3. I started my youngest at 2, but he was with me up until 2. I had a nanny helping me with both boys before they went to preschool. Now, my second son had a problem with biting at school. Completely normal, completely normal. We know that. The teachers know that. We talked about it. We discussed it. Other moms know that. But it's not a great thing, right? To have your kid being bitten by another kid, or to have your kid being the biter in school. And so I brought him back home. So that was weeks of aggression that were just displaced emotional ignorance, right? That's things that the kids learn from their mother. Emotional intelligence, absolutely, they learn it from their father, the masculine figure. They do. But it doesn't come as innately or instinctually or dominantly in anyone other than the mother of this child. When she's healthy and tuned in, tapped into like her innate self as mother. So there's all those things. That's why I think mother belongs with child if she's healthy, in a healthy place. And in the book Being There, Erica talks about how that should be the focus of getting that mom healthy. Getting the mom healthy so she can be there with baby, because this is what baby needs, to be with that nurturer, that nurturing element that comes from this biological connection that mother and child have. And I think parent and child too, father as well. There's that connection too, the importance of being with your biological parents. Not to say any other family dynamic. All families are different and all families are beautiful. If a baby is loved and a child is loved through and through their entire life, that's absolutely a beautiful thing, and it's necessary. It's necessary. Adoption is necessary. Foster homes necessary. And so because the love that is now given to this child from somebody who maybe can't have babies and is able to adopt, like what a beautiful, symbiotic, loving, beautiful expression of the divine. And what I think is beautiful about an honest adoption situation in that regard is the parents' commitment to being that in substitute, right? Is being that biological mother and father in substitute, being there in the way that that child needs somebody to be there for them so that they can grow up into their fullest expression of themselves, reach their full potential. I had to say that because I know quite a few adoption step parent situations, even in my own family, where that heart is evident. So I wanted to spend a little bit of time letting you inside my head on that. Now, going back to that mother-child relationship that Erica is talking about in her book, I think this is a big part of the mental load. Being present with your child in those first 3 years, at least, before they go off to preschool, and I think ideally they wouldn't leave until 4 to preschool. And I didn't go in that ideal route. That's my personal opinion, that's the ideal route. I didn't go that route. I went the route of putting my boys in preschool. 1, to save money on the nanny. 2, because I have a full-time business. And 3, because I needed the space. I needed the space. My work is so heady. And being present and available like that to my child is all-consuming and very demanding. And for me, I get in my head about it. And so the mental load for me is trying not to be distracted from them at all times, just being at their beck and call, being available and present to whatever they need. And while that's commitment, whenever they're in my midst, having the space to put them in school is a relief to my nervous system, to my physiology. And so it's not a bad thing. And I don't believe Erica wants us to feel bad about putting our kids in school. I definitely feel bad about putting my second son into school at 2 because of the biting, but I was able to get him back in a few months because we kind of came to that conclusion that it's better he be home. And so I was back to being able to bond with him and have my one-on-one time because my oldest son was in preschool. And so this tells me that although I would love to homeschool them, just because I think I love knowing what they're doing 24/7, and if they're being loved on 24/7, and treated right 24/7, that unless I had a homeschool aide, a teacher's assistant, where maybe I'm the assistant and they're the teacher, that it wouldn't all fall on me to manage the workload, the curriculum, and everything, because I'm a working career mom. And so I think I would need somebody to help balance out that workload, because that workload is part of the mental load. What you are responsible for, what you are committed to, what you have a heart to do, what your passion and purpose pull you toward, which is for me in my business, as well as caring for my child, then I think that split attention is something that could use support. And so that right there, that support network is what I'm committed to helping other moms create for themselves, because I know that without it, I wouldn't be in as healthy a state as I am now, having gone through the anxiety and the postpartum depression and having moved through all that unknown in my hormones and my mood and all the things that I would not have known firsthand until I became a mother. And I'm a mother in my 40s. So all of the over 40 things all are factoring in as well. Balancing the demands of that with my own aging is also part of the mental load. The heaviest burden on my mental load is making sure that I've got a bond with 2 incredible souls in this lifetime. They're my pride and joy. They are my blessings. They are my gift from God. I don't know anything that's better than them. And I want them to know it and feel loved by me and feel loved every day of their lives and be able to reach their full potential and feel fully expressed in their bodies, in their souls, in their minds, in how they want to move through this world. I want them to have the self-awareness necessary to love and to be loved, and to reach that fulfilled place with career and relationship and pursuits. So whatever that looks like for them, I want them to have it. And of course, I want to ensure that they're good citizens, right? Like pay their taxes and don't go to jail and have something amazing be written on your tombstone because that many people loved you. There's so much more I could say, and one day soon, hopefully, I'll record a video just for their eyes. Should anything happen to me, I want them to have something from their mother telling them how much they are loved beyond a shadow of a doubt. No matter what, they can do no wrong. I think this is a mother's love. And I watch a lot of true crime. And I feel like I shouldn't even say this, but I will anyway, because maybe you also watch a lot of true crime. And I think it's in an effort to make sure we're steering the next generation, our kids, our offspring, in the right direction and away from some of the tendencies that lead people who are criminals and serial killers and awful, awful murderers and rapists and things like that, that we're steering them away from those behaviors, right? We're in tune and in touch to make sure that they find the avenues that are healthy and fulfilling and joy-inducing and fun and light and beautiful. So it's all that, right? We're watching the true crime in an effort to be better parents. Everything I do is in an effort to be a better mother. Even in my business now, it's to ultimately give back to them, build a legacy so that they have something on which to reach their dreams that much quicker, faster, easier, because I've instilled in them some values, some resources, and a leg up to their dreams. And I'll close out with this. Erica in her book says, bonding is putting the pieces together, and attachment is gluing them in place. Those first 3 years, that is your focus. Everything else gets to wait or slow down. Putting more on yourself, overtaxing and overtasking yourself with projects around the house and buying all the stuff and making sure they're in programs and organizations and things like that isn't going to amount as much to the fullness that they will get from being bonded and attached to their mother. It's from Erica. Those aren't my words, but it resonates with me so much. That is my mental load. That is the burden I bear, and I don't know how to have it any other way. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Let me know that this spoke to you. Leave a comment. Let me know. I love to connect with everyone on here. I'll link Erica's book below, and that's all for now. Peace.